The adventure of the illustrious client. It was a summer evening, and we were sitting in our rooms in Baker Street, when our client, Mr. Percy Phelps, burst in upon us in a state of great agitation. He was a well-known figure in society, and we were surprised to see him looking so distressed. "Gentlemen, I am in great need of your assistance," he said. "I have just received a most extraordinary and disturbing proposition, and I do not know what to do." "Please tell us all about it," Holmes said, motioning for him to sit down. Phelps took a deep breath and began to speak. "Several months ago, I met a woman by the name of Violet de Merville. She was beautiful, charming, and intelligent, and we quickly became friends. But then she told me a terrible secret. Her father, the Duke of Lomond, had been the victim of a blackmail scheme. He had been caught in a compromising situation with a young woman, and now the woman's husband was demanding a large sum of money in exchange for his silence." "What did you do?" Holmes asked. "At first, I did nothing. I thought that the Duke would be able to handle the situation himself. But then Violet came to me again, and she told me that the man who was blackmailing her father was none other than Baron Gruner." Holmes sat up straight at the mention of the name. "Baron Adalbert Gruner?" he asked. "Yes, that's the one. Gruner was a notorious Austrian nobleman who had a reputation for being a ruthless and unscrupulous man. He was known to be involved in all manner of illegal activities, and he had a long list of enemies." "What did you do next?" Holmes asked. "I went to see Gruner myself, hoping that I could convince him to drop the matter. But he was cold and unyielding. He said that if I did not pay him the money, he would go to the press and reveal the Duke's secret." "And how much money did he demand?" Holmes asked. £20,000, Phelps said. Holmes leaned back in his chair and steepled his fingers. "This is a very serious matter, Mr. Phelps," he said. "But I think I can help you. I will need to meet with the Duke and Miss de Merville, and I will also need to speak with some of Gruner's associates. But if all goes well, I believe we can put an end to this blackmail scheme." Phelps was visibly relieved at this news, and he thanked Holmes profusely. "We made arrangements to meet with the Duke and Miss de Merville the following day, and then we set about gathering information about Gruner and his criminal activities. Over the next few days, we worked tirelessly, following leads and gathering evidence. We discovered that Gruner was involved in a variety of illegal enterprises, from smuggling to counterfeiting to prostitution. But we also learned that he was a master of disguise, and that he had many powerful friends who would do anything to protect him. Finally, after weeks of hard work, we had enough evidence to confront Gruner. Holmes arranged a meeting with him at a secluded location, and we went there prepared for anything. Gruner was a tall, imposing figure, with a thick beard and piercing blue eyes. He looked at us with disdain as we entered the room. "What do you want?" he asked. "I want to talk to you about the Duke of Lomond and the blackmail scheme you have been perpetrating against him," Holmes said, calmly. Gruner's face darkened. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said, his voice low and menacing. "You know exactly what I'm talking about, Gruner," Holmes replied. "You've been extorting money from the Duke for months, and it's time for it to stop." Gruner sneered. "And what are you going to do about it?" "We have evidence of your criminal activities," Holmes said. "If you do not drop the matter immediately, we will turn that evidence over to the authorities." Gruner laughed. "You think that will stop me? I have friends in high places, and they will protect me no matter what." "I think you'll find that your friends will not be able to protect you from the consequences of your actions," Holmes said, his eyes flashing with anger. Gruner hesitated for a moment, and then he reached for his coat. "I'll think about what you've said," he said, standing up. "But don't expect me to give up without a fight." And with that, he strode out of the room, leaving us standing there in silence. We didn't hear from Gruner for several days, and we began to think that he had given up his scheme. But then, one evening, we received a frantic message from Miss de Merville. She told us that Gruner had come to her house and threatened her and her father. "We need to act quickly," Holmes said, grabbing his coat. "We can't let Gruner get away with this." We raced to the de Merville's home, and we found Gruner there, along with several of his associates. They were armed, and they looked ready to fight. But Holmes was not intimidated. He stepped forward, his eyes flashing with determination. "You have made a grave mistake, Gruner," he said. "You should have listened to reason when you had the chance. But now, you will have to face the consequences of your actions." And with that, the fight began. It was a fierce battle, with punches and kicks and weapons flying everywhere. But in the end, we emerged victorious. Gruner and his associates were taken into custody, and the Duke's secret was safe once again. Phelps was overjoyed at the news, and he thanked us for our help. But Holmes was not satisfied. He knew that there were still many criminals like Gruner out there, and he vowed to continue fighting against them, no matter what the cost. And so, another case was closed, but the battle against crime went on. For Sherlock Holmes, it was just another day in the life of the greatest detective the world had ever known. The end. It's my pleasure to read you this classic Sherlock Holmes adventure. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Please also leave your comments and we love to hear from you. Thank you.